presentation of Fox Sports.
We are we are Florida.
Tonight, it's Grapefruit League baseball as a couple of National League East teams face off. The Braves and Marlins meet 18 times this year, but tonight they meet for the final time this spring. Opening day is just 2.5 weeks away. Still some spring training work to be done tonight in Jupiter, Florida, where at Roger Dean Stadium, Eastern rivals from Atlanta and Miami meet. It's the Braves and the Marlins for the final time this spring. And hi again, friends. My name is Chip Carey. Pleased to be joined by Tommy Hutton for the broadcast tonight. Happy New Year, Tommy. And it's been a very happy start for both the Braves and Marlins this spring. Let's start with the visiting Atlanta ball club. New-looking outfield for Braves skipper Freddie Gonzalez.
Chip, good to be with you. And you're going to see a couple of terrific outfielders at the major league level. Justin Upton and B.J. Upton can both hit for power. A couple of years ago, Justin hit 31 home runs for the Diamondbacks. Last year, B.J. hit 28 for the Rays. They can both steal bases, but they also both strike out a lot. You'll be watching a few of that, too.
Yeah, dynamic outfield with Jason Hayward joining that duo. You know about the Marlins outfield, at least as far as the corners go. Big question with 2 weeks to go. Who's going to play center field opening day?
Early on, it looked like Justin Ruggiano was going to be the guy in center field. He had a terrific second half of the season last year. But Ruggiano's been injured. He's in there tonight. He only has 4 ABs this spring. Chris Coughlin has had a tremendous spring, hitting .321 in that rookie year of 09. His on-base percentage that year was .390. That's what he brings to the table. He's finally healthy. He's had a knee injury, he had a shoulder injury. He's got a good base and a good foundation now. That's why he's swinging the bat well.
And he's the DH tonight against Chris Medlin. The Braves ace gets the ball in this ball game tonight. Nate Eovaldi will pitch for the Fighting Fish. It is indeed a beautiful night for baseball here at Roger Dean. It's the Braves and the Marlins. Lineups and first pitch coming right up.
Burger King and Fox's Sons.
Beautiful breezy night tonight at Roger Dean Stadium. The Braves and Marlins meet for the final time as far as spring training play is concerned. And plenty of questions still for that man, Mike Redmond, the first-year manager for the Marlins. Tommy, you alluded to that in the opening commentary. Still an outfield job to be won in center field. But here we are 2 weeks to go before the start of regular season play. Assess what Mike's been able to accomplish so
first
far.
time as a Major League manager, a couple of years in the Toronto Blue Jays organization, managing in the minor leagues. 41 years old, a former Marlin player, backup catcher for 7 years. Terrific guy. It's been a really nice camp. A lot of respect from his players. Very loose camp. It's been great.
Same is true for Freddie Gonzalez, the Atlanta Braves manager. It's been said of this club, Tommy, might be the best Atlanta Braves team he's had since taking over for legendary Bobby
Bobby Cox.
Of course, Freddie, a coach with the Marlins when Redmond was a backup catcher.
So they know each other's strategies pretty well, one would think. And it is indeed time for baseball. Here's how the Braves will line up. Ramiro Pena is their starting shortstop for now. Anderson Simmons still playing with the Netherlands in the WBC. And then the thumpers, Hayward, Justin Upton, Freddie Freeman, B.J. Upton in center. Former Marlin Dan Uggla, a slimmed-down Dan Uggla in at second base. Battle at third base for the Braves. Juan Francisco gets the start tonight. GERALD LAIRD in for injured Brian McCann. And KRIS Medlin will pitch and bat ninth.
And that lineup will see a 23-year-old right-hander, Nathan Eovaldi, who spent time last year with the Dodgers for 10 starts, was acquired by the Marlins in the deal that sent Hanley Ramirez to L.A. Had 12 starts as a Marlin, 3-7. He's working on command. That's key for young pitchers. Has good stuff, a good live arm. Take a look at the defense behind Nathan Eovaldi with Juan Pierre, Justin Ruggiano, and Austin Kearns in that outfield. Chris VALAIKA, Adani Echeverria over on the left side. Donovan Solano, Casey Kotchman, a solid glove at first base. And behind the plate is Rob Brantley.
And that is Ramiro Pena. Pena's had himself a nice spring for Atlanta. You see 8 hits, 22 at-bats, 364 is his average, and he might be battling for a bench job for Freddie Gonzalez and the Braves.
I think around the league, both leagues, players get opportunities because of the World Baseball Classic, with certain players away, and then some get more playing time with their clubs.
And Pena's certainly making the most of his opportunity for this Atlanta club. There's that good fastball from Eovaldi. Nothing wrong, as you said, Tommy, with this guy's arm.
No, he stays primarily with four-seamers, use a breaking ball, a changeup. Told me the other day he had an outing against the Yankees that you hear the term flying open, and he was losing a little velocity, and the ball was sinking, not to his liking, so he wants to stay straight to the plate. Just like that.
Did it right there, as if on cue. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Two wins for Eovaldi this spring. ERA a little over 4. 8 2/3 innings of work for Nathan. 7 strikeouts, and to your point, 5 walks. That's what he'd like to improve on. Good hook. And he starts with a swinging strikeout.
Well, when he has command of that breaking ball along with that 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, look at it. Just enough break to that to get the strikeout. Good pitch. If he stays like that, he'll have success. And he'll be in the rotation. He'll be Mike Redmond's number 2, number 3 starter during the year.
Now Jason Hayward. Braves right fielder, 3 homers, 3 RBIs, 235 average. Had a scare day or so ago with Jason. Sore shoulder. He said shoulder's fine. Went to the cages at Walt Disney World in Orlando, swung the bat there, took batting practice, and says everything's fine.
Well, everything was pretty fine last year, too, for Jason Hayward. He had a nice comeback here.
A little roller toward Casey Kotchman at first, and that'll roll foul. Ball and 2 strikes. Funny how that works, huh? You're healthy, you hit.
Well, we talked a little bit about that with Chris Coughlin, who we'll see as the DH tonight, the former Rookie of the Year in 09.
What a fun young rivalry we're going to see with the right fielders for these 2 franchises the next 10, 15 years, we hope. Jason Hayward for Atlanta, and of course Giancarlo Stanton for the Marlins.
Yeah, these 2 guys, you just watch them get better and better every year. And you can throw in Braves first baseman, too.
Mr. Freeman?
Freddie Freeman's pretty good over there, too.
I believe all 3 of those players were in the same draft. And if memory serves, the Braves that year had 3 second-round picks, and they could have taken Stanton as well in that draft. And Hayward got jammed. Donovan Solano's first chance, no problem. 2 up, 2 down for Eovaldi in the top of the first.
There's a lot of things that Marlins fans have watched in spring training, and one of the things that I think is a real plus is that they should have very good infield defense. If Placido Polanco is healthy, he's not in there tonight, but he would be at third, and he's won Gold Gloves. Echeverria has just been dazzling at shortstop all spring. Solano's solid. Casey KOTCHMAN comes over with a really good reputation as a solid fielding first baseman.
Yeah, Braves fans know about KOTCHMAN. He was a member of the Braves club a couple of years ago. And you're right, he's a terrific glove guy, and his bat's come to life the last year or two as well. So 2 up, 2 down for Eovaldi. Justin Upton, the Braves left fielder. And there is KOTCHMAN, had him played perfectly, and it's an easy first for Nathan Eovaldi. A good start for him. Kris Medlen will take the mound for Atlanta as we head to the bottom of the first. On to the first inning here at Roger Dean Stadium. Braves out in order in the top of the first. Here come Marlins, 7-8 so far on the spring for Mike Redmond. And an old familiar face leads things off for them. Juan Pierre gets the start tonight. He'll be the Miami left fielder. Donovan Solano, Rob Brantley behind the plate hitting third. See how Ruggiano and Coghlan do back-to-back in the lineup. The Marlins are playing with a DH tonight. The Braves are allowing their pitcher to hit in tonight's ballgame. That was agreed upon by both managers before play this evening. KEARNS, KOTCHMAN, Kris VALAIKA, and Adeiny Echeverria hits an the short.
And there's a look at the 27-year-old outstanding right-hander. This is a fun guy to watch pitch. I guess he's fun to watch pitch if you're sitting where we are. Not so much if you're in the batter's box. But Kris Medlen was just outstanding for the Braves last year. Fastball's not overpowering, 88 to 92. Throws a very good changeup, and he's not afraid to throw 2 or 3 of them in a row, and has great command. So he has command, he throws strikes, and has had a lot of success. 10-1 last year with a 1.57 ERA.
And here's his defense behind him for the final game between the Braves and Marlins this spring.
How many times will you say this? The Uptons in the outfield, Justin and BJ from left to center, and then Jason Hayward. That's a terrific outfield. Juan Francisco, Ramiro Pena, UGGLA, Freddie Freeman, and GERALD LAIRD behind the plate, who will get a lot of time early on in the season.
Yeah, until Brian McCann comes back from his shoulder surgery. And here's the ageless wonder, Juan Pierre, to lead things off. Good numbers for Pierre, the leadoff spot. And Medlen misses with his first pitch of the night.
The ageless wonder, he's 35, but he's hitting near 350 this spring.
And still can do that as well as anybody. That one, though, rolls foul for Juan Pierre. A ball and a strike.
There isn't a guy in any camp in Florida or Arizona that works harder than Juan Pierre. Told us the other day that he gets to the ballpark about 10-6 and starts his day.
Still a great speedster, still a great leader, a true pro's pro. Look at what that bunt attempt does with Juan Francisco at third base. He's good, 3 steps on the grass at the hot corner, and Medlen downstairs, ball 2.
I guess, Chip, a thing that Braves fans will have to think about, can Kris Medlen really repeat what he did last year?
High, towering fly ball to right. The wind's going to push that out onto the berm for a strike.
You know, odds say that he probably won't. I mean, he's a good pitcher. He's a quality pitcher. Will probably be the opening day pitcher. But can he repeat the string and the stretch that he was on last year?
Well, I guess that's a real good question. Do you care more about what KRIS MEDLEN does or what the team does in games that he starts in?
There's that changeup.
And he gets Pierre to swing and miss. You said MEDLEN's got a good change. Here it is.
You know, obviously, a pitcher wants to go all the way, win the game, but I think in MEDLEN's case, what he proved last year, he kept his team in every game he pitched.
Right. Well, he went 10-1, as you said. The loss was in relief. But in KRIS MEDLEN's 30 career starts, the Braves are 26-4 in those games. So can he do it? Well, remember, he's coming back year removed from Tommy John surgery, so he really isn't a one-year wonder.
He's healthier this year.
So that'll be interesting to see. You're right. Can he continue that torrid pace? As Donovan Solano bats and is behind 2 strikes quickly.
Plus, Chip, he always rocks the flat brim. You know, you got to like that.
Yeah. You're the one, huh? But 5th career year for MEDLEN. 19-8, his individual record lifetime. And will it be KRIS MEDLEN? Will it be Tim Hudson? Will it be somebody else on opening day for the Braves?
Interesting decision Freddie will have. You got the veteran, right, and Tim Hudson, who's been there, done that. Or you have the hot hand of KRIS MEDLEN.
You could say that the last couple of years it's been a turning of the page. I guess a new era for Braves baseball. No Bobby Cox. Now this year, no Chipper Jones.
Which we'll get into that as this telecast goes on. By the way, the Nationals just announced that Steven Strasburg. No surprise there.
I was going to give you 5 guesses as to.
I mean, you could make a pretty good argument though for Gio Gonzalez.
And Gio was great last night in the WBC for Team USA. And KRIS MEDLEN off to a great start tonight. Couple of strikeouts. Now he'll face the catcher Rob Brantley. Saw a little of Rob last year in the second half of the season. Your thoughts on this young man's work?
Improving every day. And I think will be a very nice addition to keep him healthy. That's one thing Mike Redmond wants. He wants Brantley to stay healthy and be his primary catcher. Hope to have him out there 120, 130 games. And it's good for a young catcher to have a manager such as Mike Redmond, who was a tremendous defensive catcher himself.
MEDLEN misses up and away. 2 balls and a strike. Now to be 23 and looking at an everyday job in the major leagues, huh? And up the middle, Pena to his left. And MEDLEN has a 1-2-3 first with a couple of strikeouts. The duel is on. No score as we head to the second. Tonight's broadcast in high definition is brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Tommy Hutton, Chip Carey with you from Jupiter, Florida. Craig Minervini will be along in a little bit. He'll be doing dugout interviews for us tonight. KRIS MEDLEN and Nathan Eovaldi. Perfect first innings tonight. How far will these men go tonight?
if all goes well.
You know, in talking to Freddie Gonzalez and also Mike Redmond, Freddie seemed to think 5 or 6 innings out of KRIS MEDLEN. He was figuring he'd get that. And Redmond said probably 60 to 70 pitches, maybe 70, 75 from Evaldi.
Both were very efficient in the first. We'll see how deep they can go as Freddie Freeman strides to the batter's box for Atlanta. He's the Braves' first baseman and having a real good spring for Atlanta. .333 his spring average, a couple of homers and 6 RBIs. He loves to swing at the first pitch. Fouled this one off to the left side. Strike one.
No, this is a guy, his first couple of years as a major leaguer, averaged 22 home runs, 85 RBIs. You expect that to get better and better every year.
And as we said earlier, health was a big issue for Freeman last year. Ironically, one of his injury problems came against the Marlins. Remember, Jose Reyes on a double play ball hit him in the hand with a thrown ball, really messed up his finger for the final 2 months of the regular season and on into the playoffs. As he unloads deep right. KEARNS going back. The wind's got this baby, and that's long gone. Freddie Freeman touches one off. A solo home run, and Atlanta has jumped in front 1-0.
Chip, one of the other problems he had last year, he had some eye problems. No problem there. Once he launched that ball, we saw a lot of balls during batting practice really jump to right field because the wind's blowing left to right. Once he launched that one, you knew it was going to go a long way. Wow. In right field now, if you look at this great facility here at Roger Dean Stadium, those are the offices, everything for the St. Louis Cardinals. This facility shared by the Marlins and the Cardinals, and over in left field, the Marlins have that side.
So a bomb 350 plus feet for Freddie Freeman gives Atlanta the lead, and here is B.J. Upton, new Atlanta center fielder. Upton, a sizzling spring, a 400 plus batting average, and a new start for him. Some up and down years with the Tampa Bay Rays, but a fresh start playing with his brother now in this Atlanta outfield.
You know, one of the things that surprised me when I did a little reading on B.J. Upton, never been an all-star.
This shot rifled into the left field corner, and Upton's got extra bases.
He's got a chance if he does that a lot this year. His brother Justin's been an all-star a couple of times.
Well, he'll have a bigger fan base to play in front of in Atlanta as opposed to the home folks in Tampa Bay.
There's that big breaking ball from Evaldi, and it just stayed middle of the plate, stayed up a little bit, didn't have that sharp, crisp bite to it, and B.J. Upton took advantage of it.
Dan UGGLA, the former Marlin bats. Dan at 211 for the spring, a homer, 4 RBIs. Different looking Dan UGGLA this spring, Tommy, than 2012.
Yeah, and from the Dan UGGLA we saw all the years he was a Marlin. He's slimmed down a little bit. Told me he's eating a lot better. I think you and I should go that route too.
You have hope, I have none. But Dan's hoping for a rebound year in 2013 for the Braves. Power numbers were down for Dan. Strikeout numbers were about normal for Dan, but his on-base percentage was high because he walked an awful lot last season.
He led the National League in walks at 94. If you had told me 3 or 4 years ago that Dan UGGLA would lead the league in walks, I wouldn't have believed you.
1 ball, 1 strike. Upton at second. And that would launch foul. 1-2 your count. Dan's run of 30 homer seasons interrupted last year with but 19 for the Braves. But as you see, got on base a lot with patience at the plate. Try to advance Upton here with nobody out. Freeman's homer, the only score so far tonight. Dan got jammed. KEARNS in right. Won't have a play. Again, the wind will push that into the seats, or into the berm, I should say.
We touched on this, Chip, a little bit in our open. The fact that one of the concerns, and it's no secret, that the Braves will have is a lot of strikeouts. And you probably have periods. If 2 or 3 guys go in those strikeout slumps, it'll be tough to generate some offense.
Yeah, runner at third with less than 2 outs will be, I think, a big stat for the Braves to follow. As UGGLA skies this one toward right. And Austin KEARNS will camp out. He'll make the play, and there's the first out of the second inning.
Chip, it's great the way we segue into eating habits, talking about all-you-can-eat seats at Marlins games on all Saturday games in 2013 for just $27 in the Vista Reserve or $37 in Legend Silver. Menu items, you can get beef franks, peanuts, popcorn, nachos, Pepsi sodas, and Aquafina water. See how we segue from eating into all-you-can-eat Saturdays.
Now, do you have a favorite on that menu? I know you and Rich. Rich is into sushi right now. We know that he's deep in...
I'll have to get him out of that.
I didn't see sushi on that particular menu.
I hate to admit this, but I would go with the nachos.
Nachos?
Yeah, I would go with nachos.
Okay. Hard to go wrong with nachos. But we wish Rich Walls all the best as he makes his way back from the WBC. Great job at the Tokyo Dome calling those ball games for the MLB Network.
Yeah, my partner over in the Far East with Buck Martinez.
Yep.
And he gets that assignment. You get this assignment to come over here with me. What's Joe doing tonight?
Joe's home practicing his Boomer Sooner chant for his beloved Oklahoma football squad. As Juan Francisco goes to work and hits a rocket shot towards second. Solano had him played perfectly. Runner to third with 2 outs.
Is there a clear-cut candidate who's leading in that third base race with Francisco just making that out between him and Chris Johnson?
Listen to Freddie Gonzalez before the game. He said it's still a wide-open battle. One of the reporters asked Tommy if defense might make the difference, and he said both Chris Johnson and Juan Francisco are about even defensively.
And they're
the bat well.
Both have pretty good springs,
right,
too.
So it might be one of the final decisions made this spring. As Freddie said today, he'd be comfortable with either one of those guys at third base. This is GERALD LAIRD. Braves signed him to a 2-year contract to replace David Ross, who ended up with the Red Sox. With Brian McCann coming back from shoulder surgery, Laird's going to be the everyday guy for, at the very least, Tommy, the first couple of weeks of the season.
During that time, who will back up Laird?
That's
another interesting
question.
Decision, yeah.
And one name to keep in mind, and we may see him tonight, is Evan Gattis. He's a guy that's really opened some eyes this spring offensively for the Braves ball club. Waldy paints a corner, a ball and 2 strikes. A homer and a double allowed by Evaldi in the inning. Upton's the man at third base now with 2 outs. Chris Medlin, the Braves pitcher, waits on deck. Again, 2 sets of offensive rules for the game tonight. The Marlins using a DH. Freddie Gonzalez wants his pitchers to hit, and Chris Medlin will have to wait till the third to do that. Freddie Freeman did some hitting, a long, towering solo home run, led off the second. It's 1-0 Atlanta. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Atlanta. Nate Eovaldi for the Marlins. Kris Medlen will, in a moment, begin his second inning of work for the Braves. Both starters have a couple of strikeouts in the early going tonight. Tommy, we promised our audience that Craig Minervini would be along with some dugout interviews. He has his first guest tonight. Hello, Craig.
Chip, you came through on your promise. Good evening, everybody, and thanks a lot. And it's good to talk with Placido Polanco here, who is going to be back in the lineup pretty soon. Good news, you know, a little back stiffness, but out there doing a lot of baseball activity today.
Yeah, like you said, first thanks for having me in your program. But yeah, it was very optimistic today. You know, very good day. I was able to run and hit and take ground balls and throw, which was what was giving me problem at first. Now I've been stretching that oblique more and more, and it's almost good to go.
No reason to rush you back, but would you like to get in X amount of games, X amount of weeks before the season?
Without a doubt, but remember, here in spring training, you always have the minor league program where you can go and hit every inning, you know, and you can take advantage of that too. But yeah, you know, I would like to play, of course, you know, I would say at least 10 more games, you know, and get it going for the season.
I know Marlin fans were concerned because last year you were bothered by back injuries, missed 70-something games with the Phillies. But this situation, unrelated?
Yes, very unrelated, and has nothing to do with that. That's over. That's a page that I turned, and it's just an oblique, you know, and it's mild, and you know, it's a combination of a lot of stuff, you know, like workouts and playing, and the weather also. But it's good now. It's almost good to go.
Hey, Placido, I know one reason the Marlins were happy to get you, because you just creamed the Marlins every time, especially as a Philly. There are some teams you have a good feeling against. I know the Marlins are happy to have you on their side now.
But you try to go with that feeling every day, you know. But I don't know. I guess the stadium is just wide, you know, and one of those things, you know, that you don't have an explanation.
What about this young team? Got some veterans like yourself, JP behind you. A lot of young talent too. What's your feeling here in camp?
Me and JP talk about it all the time. We're extremely happy to be here, surrounded with I mean, so much talent and hungry, and you know, and we're very happy to be here. You know, we're very happy, and we have a very good vibe in the clubhouse, very good chemistry, and I think that's going to take us a long way.
We look forward to seeing you in the field. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Okay.
You got it. Placido Polanco, guys, back up to you.
Hey, Craig, thank you very much. 3 gold gloves, Tommy, for a young team, as Craig was mentioning. That's always a good thing to add, isn't it?
Yeah, 2-time All-Star, 2 of those gold gloves as a second baseman, 1 as a third baseman.
So Marlins fans will be eager to see Placido Polanco back in the lineup. And I know, Tommy, everybody in your camp's happy to see this kid having this kind of spring, Chris Coghlan. There's the change.
Chris Coghlan just saw that good Medlin changeup. Yeah, from winning the Rookie of the Year award in 09, and then injuring his knee in a freak accident, and then having shoulder problems. He pretty much last year hit rock bottom, but he's pleased with the way he feels, number one, health-wise, and that's why he feels he's been swinging the bat well, too.
Medlen has his 3rd strikeout.
Talked about how Medlen not afraid to go back-to-back, sometimes back-to-back-to-back with that changeup.
5 up, 5 down for Medlen. Austin Kearns, the batter. Austin 2 for 21 so far this spring.
The Braves, Chip, have just, over the last few years, especially last year, just manhandled the Marlins. The Marlins were 4-14 against the Braves last year.
And if memory serves, the Braves in Marlins Park did a lot of home run damage in that big park. Dan UGGLA, one game in particular, hit the sculpture in center field, you remember.
He hit one of the furthest as a right-handed hitter last year, other than Giancarlo Stanton,
yes,
of course.
2 balls and a strike. And Kearns with a little dribbler that rolls up UGGLA's glove and trickles into right field. Dan had a lot of ground to cover. The ball has some funny spin on it, Tommy.
A couple of things. Funny spin. So UGGLA had to move to his left. And then when you see that middle infielder get on the grass, watch how UGGLA now moves. He's on the grass. Now he has to play it off the dirt, off the grass. It takes a little funny hop off that lip. You add all that together, and it's an E4 for Dan UGGLA.
And actually for Dan, that's E number 5 this spring for the Atlanta second baseman.
It's an interesting number because the Marlins, as a team this spring, thanks in part to Perry Hill, they're back again as a terrific infield instructor. The Marlins have only made 10 errors as a team all spring.
You've mentioned a couple of times that good infield defense. Casey KOTCHMAN, the man in the box, part of that as well. And as we mentioned, KOTCHMAN's really discovered the magic wand at the plate the last couple of years, and that's carried over this spring. A .435 average in a Marlins uniform with 5 RBIs and a homer. Medlin with a good pickoff move, nearly took care of KEARNS.
Medlin goes back to his roots when he was a position player.
Shortstop.
He's got those quick feet, and any pitcher, a right-hander that has quick feet, usually has a real good move to first.
KOTCHMAN to center. Upton glides to his right and takes care of that. No runs and a man left after 2 innings. New hitting coach for the Marlins is Tino Martinez. We'll talk to him when we return. Nothing is our score. We've completed 2 on a lovely night for baseball here in Jupiter, Florida. Chip Carey, Tommy Hutton with you, and plenty of new faces for both these ball clubs. And on the coaching staff, too, let's welcome the new hitting coach of the Marlins. That smiling face belongs to Tino Martinez.
Chip, how you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Welcome to the life of coaching.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Tino, that brings me to my first question to you. I know you did some instructing with the Yankees, not on a full-time basis. How did this all come about to get this job here with Mike Redmond and the Marlins?
Well, I've had this opportunity through Jeffrey Lurie a couple of times now, and when he called me this year after he fired the coaching staff in November, I thought it was a great opportunity, to come to Miami, a whole new young team, a fresh start, and a great way for me to get back into the game and start my career as a coach, working with young players and trying to make them better, not just hitters, but better all-around players.
Third inning rolls around. Chris Medlin will lead things off. So, Tino, for Marlins fans, what exactly is your hitting coach philosophy?
Well, basically, I tell everybody I don't really have a philosophy. I have an approach. I would talk about approach. Have an approach every at-bat. Go up there with a game plan. Stay inside the ball and use the whole field. That's what I try to teach these guys in the batting cages and during batting practice. If you have good mechanics and use the whole field, you have a lot of success. And my job is to watch them throughout the year. Most of them pretty much know how to hit. If not, they wouldn't be here. And it's just my job to really monitor them throughout the year and make sure they don't get into bad habits.
You know, I've talked a few times around the batting cage, and we were talking the other day about some video, but more of an approach as far as your theories are.
Yeah, we'll watch some video here and there. If the guy is going bad for 3 or 4 or 5 games, I may notice something. He's flying open, or his hands are too high or too low. And then you take him to the video room and show them when they're swinging good, what they look like, and when they're going bad, what they look like. But I really try to minimize the video takes and all that kind of stuff, just so that they don't start getting too much mechanics in their head and really start messing themselves up worse than what they may already be.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Braves pitcher Chris Medlin, who leads off the Atlanta third. And Medlin with a little chopper back to the mound. And Evaldi takes care of the pitcher for the first out. Tino, you've got a first-year manager as your boss. You're a first-year hitting coach. Is this what you expected it would be here now, a month into your first spring training as an instructor?
Yeah, it's been better than I thought. I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know Mike Redmond coming into this situation, and when we got here in spring training, actually we met in January, the coaching staff, and I liked him. Rob Leary, Chuck Hernandez, Joe Espada, and Perry Hill. We've all got along really well. They all work very hard, and it's been so much fun to work with these guys on a daily basis.
Any special plans for Giancarlo Stanton?
None whatsoever. I watched him the first week or so he was here before he left to the WBC, and what a hitter. He's got great mechanics. He's very disciplined, very low maintenance. And he's one of those guys, like I said, you just got to watch him, monitor him throughout the year, make sure he doesn't get into bad habits, and just let him go and do his job.
What hitters have stood out so far early in the spring, this halfway through?
Well, a lot of guys swing the bat well. Of course, Juan Pierre swinging the bat well. Christian Yelich, our young prospect, is swinging the bat extremely well. Rob Brantley. A lot of guys are really going up there with like I said, a good approach, a good game plan, and they're really working the counts and having good at-bats. That's all I'm looking for right now.
The ultimate compliment, by the way, I have to give you this. I was talking to Casey KOTCHMAN, and I asked Casey his decisions as to why he decided to come on board with the Marlins, and he said one of them was because Tino Martinez was the hitting coach.
Really?
I wanted to talk to him a little bit.
Yeah, well, that is a great compliment. Casey's had a pretty good career so far, and basically we're really happy to have him. He's a great defensive first baseman and a very good hitter. So, I'm just trying to teach him a few things, maybe how to drive the ball a little bit more in the gaps, and just a few little tips here that may help him become a better hitter.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't just because it was a first baseman thing. It's a nice compliment. We wish you all the best in your new role as the Marlins hitting instructor.
All right, thank you, Chip. Thank you, Tommy.
Tino Martinez, and it's still 1-0 Atlanta. Well, Tommy, we didn't want to spoil the suspense, but the season opener, April 1st, the Marlins and the Washington Nationals. If you missed it earlier, guess who's starting opening day for Washington?
Well, it will be Steven Strasburg, and he'll be going up against Ricky Nolasco. So a day game in the nation's capital. Should be a fun start for the Marlins. What do the Braves open up this year?
The Braves open at home against the Phillies.
Oh, okay. That'll be pretty good, too.
That'll be pretty good, too. And you guys will see the Nationals a couple times in the first 2 weeks of the season, a chance to really impact that Eastern race, I would say.
Yeah, we open up against Washington, then on to New York, play the Mets over the weekend. I don't think we hook up with you guys for a while. In Atlanta. I don't think we go to Atlanta till June.
Well, it won't be hot then. Don't worry about it. It'll be perfect weather for you guys. As you look at KRIS VALAIKA getting the start tonight at third base. Marlins fans have to be encouraged with what Craig was reporting earlier. Placido Polanco feels pretty spry and ready to go. Getting closer to being ready to go.
A couple of veterans. He hopes to get going soon, possibly Saturday. Greg Dobbs has been slowed with a calf injury. Veteran, left-handed bat, third baseman, first baseman, sometimes in the outfield. And it looks like Greg Dobbs will be ready to go on Saturday.
And that's what you want. Obviously, you're going to have your nicks and bumps and bruises in the middle weeks of spring training. But get your club as healthy as you can with a week and a half to go, and be ready when the bell rings April 1st.
And guys like Polanco and Dobbs and the Braves have guys like that, veterans. They know what they have to do, how many at-bats they need to get, how many innings they need to throw to get themselves ready.
VALAIKA with a shot toward left center field. And Upton with a long running catch. Justin Upton covered a ton of territory and made the grab just shy of the warning track.
He said, older brother BJ, say, I have this one. You just, take your time over there in center. That's one thing Braves fans are going to have a lot of fun watching this year, is those two guys chase down a lot of fly balls in the outfield. Good jump, good concentration, and makes it look so easy.
Big difference for you, Tommy, going from right field to left field for Upton, where he played with the Diamondbacks last year?
Yeah, because, and you're getting balls coming at different angles. As a right fielder, you get all the right-handed bats slicing balls out to the lefties hooking balls. In left field, it's just the opposite.
So Upton handled his first chance tonight. Here's Echeverria. And his shot to PENA at short. Nice 360 spin. And that's a quick second out in the Marlins third. Quick appearance by Echeverria, but he's opened some eyes, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's really played tremendous defense, and he came in that trade from Toronto with those accolades. A very good defensive shortstop. He swung the bat all right, but he's made every play defensively that you'd like.
Obviously a huge key for your ball club. Catch it first.
Catch it. If you catch it, if you do the little things, that's what Redmond is certainly trying to instill in this ball club. They're not going to hit a lot of home runs. Marlins Park's a big ballpark. Not going to hit a lot of home runs there, so they have to do all the other things correctly.
Juan Pierre tried to bunt his first time. MEDLEN then struck him out. And Juan slaps one into shallow left. Upton in a few steps and is there. And that retires the side. KRIS MEDLEN's gone hitless through his first 3 innings of work, and he leads 1-0. KRIS MEDLEN cruising merrily along for the Braves. A Freddie Freeman homer is the only run scored so far tonight. Tommy, we were talking about this Braves rotation. Who starts as the #1 pitcher? Doesn't really matter. Whoever goes on any given day is your #1, and the Braves have an embarrassing amount of riches in starting pitching.
Yeah, that's a tough decision, but an easy decision. It's going to be one of those two. And then Mike Minor, they'd like to see, I believe, more consistency out of Minor for the entire season. Paul Mahalam's a veteran, a guy who can settle in #4 spot. Julio Teheran had a good outing yesterday for the Braves, and I think that was very encouraging for the organization.
Yeah, he had 5 hitless innings for the Atlanta team, and the Braves also have Brandon Beachy, who will be coming back in the middle of the season at some point for that man, Freddie Gonzalez. And Beachy at one point might have been the best starter for the Braves.
Beachy threw some good games against the Marlins the last couple of years.
Same kind of arm as Evaldi, big power fastball. But Evaldi's pitched a good ball game tonight. He's made just one mistake. That's the ball that Freeman hit.
Another coach on Freddie Gonzalez's staff who has a long history with Mike Redmond is Carlos Tosca.
Little chopper down the first base line. Evaldi's going to take care of that. 1 pitch, 1 out. Takes care of Justin. He's 0 for 2 tonight.
Good play. A lot of pitchers, they come off the mound on a swinging bunt like that, a speedy runner, and Justin Upton, and sometimes they'll try to hurry things. He took his time. He knew he had time and made it look fairly easy.
I like this kid on the mound. I like his stuff. It's tough winning games in the major leagues. It's tough, I'm sure, coming to an organization when you're traded for an all-star caliber player. But Evaldi's trying to take the next step forward, and be a top-of-the-rotation guy for this Marlins ball club. And he's pitching a good one tonight.
He has, and you hear that top-of-the-rotation term, he has top-of-the-rotation stuff. And actually, his best outing last year, his longest outing, was an 8-inning, 4-hit, no-run performance against Atlanta.
Yeah, he had an electric fastball in that ball game. Mid-90s, into upper 90s, perhaps. We talked about control for Eovaldi tonight. Hasn't walked anybody, but left one in the zone for Freeman.
Yeah, that was that happy zone for the left-handed hitter, and he launched it.
So Freeman, 3 homers this spring. And now heading the count, 3 balls and a strike.
Well, the Braves doing what they expect to do during the season. Hayward has 3 home runs. Freeman his 3rd. Upton's hit a home run. UGGLA's hit a home run.
Chance for Pierre in left, and Juan's got it. That's the second out.
So you have 2 very different looking offenses as the season goes on with these 2 teams. The Braves are going to score a lot of runs on home runs, and the Marlins will have to score them in other ways, except the occasional maybe 35 or 40 that Stanton hits.
Well, and the Braves too, Tommy, think this is a much more balanced lineup. Yes, they're going to hit home runs, but they feel that the Upton brothers and Jason Hayward can possibly steal 20 bags. But even deeper, there's finally left-handed and right-handed hitting balance up and down this lineup for Atlanta.
Yeah, Frank Wren has talked about a more athletic lineup that he has.
That skied out of play foul. 2 quick strikes to B.J. Upton.
But it will be strange taking on the Braves this year and not seeing Chipper Jones.
Up the middle, and no chance for Echeverria. So B.J. Upton's 2 for 2. He doubled in the second. He singles here in the 4th. That safety comes with 2 outs, and it'll bring up Dan Uggla. And there was a Twitter rumor the other day that Brian Cashman was trying to lure Derek Lee and Chipper Jones to the Pinstripers.
I would have loved to have seen the face of Chipper Jones when he first heard that rumor.
He said on his Twitter account that, well, thanks for the compliment, but I'm happy to stay home with the kids, which is a nice sentiment.
He spent some time, a little bit of time in spring training, didn't he?
He did, yeah. He's been a guest instructor. He came down. He's got the sitting on the upside-down sunflower seed can down his. I mean, he's got a Hall of Fame move in that regard.
Well, he has Hall of Fame credentials.
Good point. Good point. But he has a fungo, or he had a fungo, never swung it once. So he's ready to go. But you're right, it'll be very different. Not seeing Chipper Jones anchoring that lineup as Eovaldi saws off Dan Uggla. Eovaldi and Medlin are pitching very good baseball tonight. We're through 3.5 for the 1-0 Atlanta lead. We're back in South Florida. Tommy was talking about how strange it'll be to be without Chipper Jones in the National League in 2013. Let's take you back to the future, 1995, when Chipper was the runner-up in the Rookie of the Year vote.
See, we're really going to make Chipper feel old.
Oh, yeah.
DVD is invented. OJ found not guilty. Bryce Harper was 2 years old.
I wonder how many people in our audience, youngsters who are watching the game, even know what a DVD is anymore. Right?
Well, 2,726 hits, 468 home runs, lifetime 300 average. I said this the other day, talking about a future Hall of Famer. I think we were talking about Mariano Rivera. And the same will apply to Chipper Jones. Whatever writer doesn't vote for him should be taken off the voting list on the first ballot.
Right. Why? Yeah. I'm biased, of course. I think Chipper Jones is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and why not make it a unanimous selection? And Craig, more on the Chipper Jones story as the Braves try to figure out who's going to fill those very big shoes?
Well, guys, yeah, he's so good. It looks like it may take at least two guys to replace him. Right now, Freddie Gonzalez telling me today, as you guys alluded to a bit earlier, he might even go with a platoon over at third base with Juan Francisco, who hits from the left side, with Chris Johnson, who was picked up from Arizona from the right side. Both have pretty good power hitters. Right now, it's pretty even. But Freddie Gonzalez said he'd like to see it stay that way and put the decision in the Braves' coaching hands. He said, look, if somebody hits 400, the other guy 050, very easy decision for us, as the catch is made by Upton in left. But you look at the tail of the tape, they're pretty similar. Francisco's a big guy. He's 6'2", 240, a little heavier than Chris Johnson. Francisco's lost a little weight. Johnson 6'3", 220, a couple of years older. He's a career 276 hitter. Francisco, terrific power. And look at that number from Chris Johnson at Stetson, where he hit 379. And how about this crazy connection? He played for a guy named Pete Dunn there, who happens to be Chipper Jones' godfather. And that was, what do they call it? The Hatters, I believe, right?
The Stetson Hatters, right.
At Stetson. And so far in camp, Johnson's hitting 314 with 2 homers, 6 RBIs. And Francisco also right around that 300 mark with a couple of home runs. So it's going to be a good battle to watch, but it is different to not see number 10 over there.
Thank you, Craig. A manager and pitching coach's nightmare. A comebacker got MEDLEN in the shoe.
Yeah, especially when one of your aces is out there throwing a no-hitter at this point. This is first base hit, but just off that left shoe, everything seems to be okay for MEDLEN, and Brantley gets himself an infield base hit.
Looked like it got the bottom of the spikes for MEDLEN.
To continue on what Craig was talking about, the interesting thing about Chris Johnson, he came over kind of a probably wasn't talked about a lot in the Justin Upton deal.
Yeah, I hate to use the word throw-in, but when the Braves had to include Martin Prado in the trade for Upton, they found themselves looking for someone to play third base. Martin Prado was penciled in to be that guy.
How many Braves fans said ouch when they saw Prado included in that deal?
Well, you know the old saying, to get something good, you have to give up something good. But certainly, Martin Prado, maybe the most versatile player in the National League. All the positions he could play, that'll be a very big addition for the Diamondbacks. They're thrilled to have Prado, and the Braves obviously thrilled to have Upton.
The Marlins happy that they won't have to face Prado 18 times. Many big hits against the Marlins.
There are a lot of teams in the East that'll be saying that about Martin. So Brantley has the first hit of the night for the Marlins. Justin Ruggiano digs in. Ruggiano grounded out to Dan UGGLA, his first and only time up. 1-0 Atlanta, a Freddie Freeman second inning homer. The only score so far. This guy was quite a find for the Marlins last year.
Yes, he was, and it's unfortunate early on that he's had some lower back issues because he's missed a lot of time. He's only had 4 or 5 at-bats this spring, but really patrolled center field and Marlins Park, as I mentioned earlier. A lot of room in the outfield, so they need a center fielder to cover a lot of ground.
And he's sawed off and is doubled up by Chris MEDLEN and the Atlanta infield defense. And Chris MEDLEN is through 4 scoreless innings with a 1-0 lead.
I get these all-you-can-eat things. Here we go again. Mondays, you can eat a lot if you come to Marlins games. All-you-can-eat Mondays, $22 in Vista Reserve, $32 in the Legends level. Same menu, hot dogs, peanuts, popcorn, nachos. This also includes opening night, which is a Monday night. Mondays are also Florida Superheroes nights. Complimentary tickets for all active, retired military personnel, veterans, first responders, emergency responders, as well as their spouses and children. So a lot of great promotions. So don't forget Mondays, Superheroes, all you can eat, and also Saturdays, all you can eat.
Love New Marlins Park. And when that place has lots of folks in it, as a visiting broadcaster, it is an intimidating place. It is loud.
I thought last night, I know you had a chance to watch a little bit of the World Baseball Classic with the United States winning their game last night. And I thought Marlins Park looked just tremendous. I don't get a chance to see it in that venue, watching it from afar. It really looked good. It was presented well last night.
So I'm sure the Marlins fans can't wait for opening night at home. And Juan Francisco gets things started in the Atlanta fifth. Pitch count was for Eovaldi, what'd you say, 65, 70 or thereabouts?
Eovaldi 53 through 4 innings, and Medlin just 41.
Would be what his upside was, 65, 70? So.
Yeah, he's got a chance to go another inning or two. I know we've talked about, we had a nice conversation with Marlins hitting instructor Tino Martinez. Greg Walker with the Braves has done a tremendous job, and one of the hitters that has given Walker a lot of credit is Juan Francisco with the work he put in with him last year.
Now, Juan has as big a power bat as anybody in the game. But a couple of things, again, to your point about strikeouts, that's one of them. And secondly, he really has never had Tommy a chance to get 300, 400, 500 at-bats in a season. If he wins the third base job for the Braves, he might get that opportunity.
I think the easy way out for Freddie Gonzalez is to have a nice platoon. Francisco, of course, being a left-handed hitter, would get more ABs. But not bad when you can get a Chris Johnson out there against lefties.
But there you see 11 walks, but 70 strikeouts.
That's called a free swinger.
Yes. But when he connects, it goes a long way. And a chopper rolled foul. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fastball just missed high, full count.
So far, Nathan Eovaldi has, in my opinion, been the most consistent starter that the Marlins have thrown out there this spring. It's a good fastball there. Seems like if they come out of Texas, they throw hard. Born in Houston, Nathan Eovaldi.
And from Alvin, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody pretty famous also from Alvin, Texas.
He went to high school in Alvin, Texas. Yeah, I think he had the Express or something like that.
Yeah, Mr. Nolan Ryan. And he gets Francisco for a second strikeout tonight. Here's Gerald Laird. Taking part in his 3rd strikeout. Nope, 4th strikeout. Remember, it's spring training for the announcers, too.
Absolutely.
Gerald Laird is 0 for 1 tonight.
Joe Simpson's at home keeping count, though.
Thank goodness for Joe. Be in deep trouble. Brian McCann the other day said his shoulder feels great. He's very encouraged by its response to the surgical procedure. Mid-April or thereabouts for McCann's return. Meantime, you get Gerald Laird, who's played in the last 2 World Series. Not too shabby in Brian McCann's absence.
And a guy who has had the reputation as always being a very solid backup catcher. Same reputation David Ross has.
Yes. He's now with the Boston Red Sox. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Laird, then Medlin. And fly ball to center. First chance a while for Ruggiano, and he makes it cleanly. 2 out. And here is Medlin, who tapped to the mound his first and only time up.
Now, Freddie Gonzalez and Mike Redmond had a little fun before the game because Freddie was kidding Redmond and said, you didn't ask my permission to use the designated hitter, which the Marlins are using in this game.
Right.
Mike Redmond said, I think on the 16th he'll start having his pitchers hit. And Freddie, of course, wanted Medlin to hit. He's had his pitchers hit the last 2 or 3 games.
No Dusty, Kirk Gibson.
Nah, none of that.
Brouhaha.
All smiles.
That's because the coach, Bill Parcells, was down on the field standing between them, said, hey, let's get the rules straight before we play the game.
And who's going to mess with the tuna?
Right,
yeah.
Right. Base is clear, 2 outs. Ball and a strike for Kris Medlin. Medlin pops it up. And Donovan Solano makes the easy play. 3 up, 3 down for Eovaldi. He's pitching a beauty, but trails by a 1-0 score. Kris Medlin's making his way to the mound for his 5th inning of work. The first 4 have been terrific for the Braves starter.
We've seen a nice pitching clinic. We've seen the change-ups from Kris Medlin. He'll occasionally set a hitter up with the fastball. There's a good fastball for a strikeout. But his go-to pitch is that change-up. He got Coghlan with that one there. And then we've seen the power of Nathan Eovaldi and his mid-90s fastball with a good slider involved, too. We've seen a couple of guys that look like they're in midseason form.
And we'll have a chance to talk to Kris after his final inning of work tonight. And there you see his line. The only hit, the infield hit, that off the bat of Rob Brantley, a ball that caught Kris on the bottom of, I believe, his left foot, we said.
He'll probably tell us as a former shortstop that he's got to make that play.
Yeah. But only 1 hit for Medlin, 1 big hit for the Braves. Among their 3, that was Freddie Freeman's 2nd inning homer. Fox Saturday Baseball returns with 3 great matchups as Angels outfielder Josh Hamilton returns to Texas to take on the Rangers. Or the Yankees battle the defending AL champion Tigers. Or the Cardinals take on the World Series champion Giants in a rematch of the NLCS. The debut of Fox Saturday Baseball is April 6th.
Does Josh Hamilton get booed in Texas?
Well, Dwight Howard got booed last night in Orlando, so they don't have baseball fans in Texas, right? Wasn't that what Josh Hamilton was alluding to?
I think he would get booed for more for what he said than for just choosing to sign with the Angels.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to follow. As the Angels have loaded up again. One year they had Albert Pujols, the next year they had Josh Hamilton.
And you throw in a Mike Trout, and wow.
Pretty dynamic offense. So Chris Coghlan ready to go in the 5th. Coghlan struck out his first time. 1 of 3 tonight for Kris Medlin. One ball, no strikes. Former Brave Mike Dunn's getting ready in the Marlins bullpen. Might be 5 and out for Eovaldi. We'll see about that. 1 hop shot to Dan Uggla. Easy play, 1 out.
26 left of KEARNS.
KEARNS one of 2 Marlins to reach base tonight. That was on Dan UGGLA's 5th error of the spring. And that was back in the 2nd inning. No balls and a strike to KEARNS.
Veteran Austin Kearns had some leg problems last year, but when he was healthy, he did a nice job filling in, pinch hitting, gave the Marlins a nice right-handed bat.
Medlin paints at the knees, 0-2 your count.
But having a tough spring this year, just 2 for 22.
That change missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We talked and showed you the score from the WBC earlier tonight. I know there's no real good time to have that tournament.
No, there isn't.
And it's unfortunate because as Francisco handles it third and takes care of KEARNS, it is such a great showcase for the game internationally, and certainly there's a lot of excitement in the U.S. as well. But from a practical standpoint for both these ball clubs and frankly any team in baseball that has a player participating, you really want to see your players with your ball club.
Yeah, it's you're right. There is no good time. There's some of the action, like from last night at Marlins Park with the U.S. beating Puerto Rico in the late game. But you have guys like, I'm sure Freddie, for Braves fans, would like to see Andrelton Simmons a little bit more. And certainly Marlins fans would like to see Giancarlo Stanton much more.
As this pitch popped out, play by Casey KOTCHMAN, and that's what Freddie said before the game. You watch the games and you kind of hold your breath because the last thing you want to see is an important player on your ball club get hurt in one of those tournament games as opposed to being with your club.
How about when Mexico and Canada got into that fight? Right. What do you think they were thinking with Joey Votto out there?
Medlen's wearing a target. He gets popped again, this one in the back. And KOTCHMAN has an infield hit, and that one stung KRIS.
That one stung a little bit more than the one that went off his foot, but he appears to be all right. When you're a hitter, especially a left-handed hitter, against a guy who has such a good changeup, you want to try to stay back and shoot balls up the middle. You want to think center of the diamond. And a couple of left-handed bats, the 2 base hits, Brantley and KOTCHMAN. Freddie just doesn't want to take any chance. There's no reason that he should.
Yeah.
And so Medlen's going to come out of this game.
When you've gotten hit as many times as you've allowed a hit, might be time to head for the showers, and that'll be the case for Kris Medlen. Pitched a beautiful ball game, but after Casey KOTCHMAN hits a liner back through the box, he will be taken down for an Atlanta relief pitcher. So 2 are out, 1 is on. Casey KOTCHMAN's that runner at first base. And it looks like Johnny Vetters will take over in relief for Atlanta when we return. Medlen's gotten popped twice on batted balls, but Tommy, anything you garner from that shot?
You know, just watching him in the dugout, he's been just going through his motion. And he's not putting a bag of ice on that arm where it looked like the ball got him. So as he talks things over. It looks like he's fine, and hopefully we will have a chance. Craig will have a chance to touch base with Chris Medlen in the dugout.
His line tonight to this point, 4 2/3 innings, 2 hits, no walks, and 3 strikeouts and 50 pitches for Medlen tonight. He'll give way to Johnny Venters, part of this very deep and talented Braves late inning bullpen.
Yeah, and I think, you know, you look at Venters, what he did the first couple of years, had an ERA under 2, and then it got, I don't want to say ballooned, because you're in the 3s, you're respectable, but that's where it was last year. I'd like to get a little more consistency out of him with that hard slider, but when he's on, he has tremendous stuff.
Craig Minervini's down by the Braves dugout. Craig, you have an update on Medlen for us?
Chip, it looks like he's going to go to the training room, so unfortunately we may not get a chance to talk to him. Although, as Tommy mentioned, didn't put any ice on it, didn't really rub it at all, came off and shrugged it off, sort of, and was going through his motion. But just for as a precaution, I think they took him out. And if we get a chance to talk to him, we will. But it looks like he's going to head probably right to the Braves clubhouse.
Craig, you're taught not to rub it.
Even in spring training.
Put some dirt on it, kid.
But a tremendous outing, 4 2/3 for Medlen. Gave up just the 2 hits, both infield singles, both hits caught a piece of him. No walks, 3 strikeouts, 50 pitches. And for Nathan Eovaldi to this point, in his 5 innings, he's given up just 3 hits, the 1 run. No walks, which is a great sign for Eovaldi. 4 strikeouts. So he's at 72 pitches. I'm sure that'll be all for Eovaldi.
So Venters continues his warm-ups for Atlanta.
Manager always has to ponder when a pitcher comes out of a game in a spring training game. You don't see it too often, but the bullpen, whoever comes in, is going to get as many pitches as he needs. You want to make sure that, even though Venters knew he was going to work tonight, you want to make sure that he gets enough pitches and gets himself ready as he comes in with 2 outs in this inning.
There's who Freddie Gonzalez is scheduled to pitch in the ball game tonight. Medlen is out. Johnny Venters now on. Much lighter workload for Venters last year out of that Braves bullpen. 2 years ago, 85 appearances. Last year, 66 appearances for Johnny Venters.
Tell you what, there's some pretty good bullpens with the Nationals and Braves in the National League East.
Don't want to trail these clubs late more often than not. As Chris VALAIKA bats for the 2nd time, he had a deep fly ball to left that Justin up to track down a step shy of the warning track in the 3rd inning.
I'll tell you what, if he hits that same ball now, it's out. The wind has really died down as this game has progressed.
Down and in, 2 balls, no strikes.
Look at that, earlier in the game, there was a stiff breeze blowing from left to right. But no sign right now.
Venters pitching well for the Braves. No runs allowed in his last 4 appearances. And Francisco loads up and takes care of VALAIKA and cleans up the 5th inning for Atlanta. No runs, a hit, another man left, heading to the 6th in Jupiter, Florida. Top of the Braves order coming up. They lead 1-0.
For everything
We welcome you back for the top of the 6th inning. 1-0 Atlanta. Both starters, Tommy, now out of the ball game, and a big tip of the cap to Nathan Eovaldi. He pitched a beauty for the Marlins tonight.
Yeah, we gave you his numbers. He looks like he's solidified in that rotation. Another one of the decisions that'll have to be made by Mike Redmond is that number 5 starter. But a guy who has really thrown well, I think, in this camp has been the veteran Kevin Slowey, and certainly a guy that Mike Redmond is familiar with. Redmond caught his major league debut when they were both with the Twins. And so he's familiar with Slowey, who's a strike thrower, isn't overpowering, a good curveball, good changeup, and I think would be a good pitcher in a pitcher's ballpark, and that's where he might be. So he's in that mix with John Maine, another veteran pitcher who had a good year with the Mets a few years ago, but a couple of veterans vying for that number 5 spot.
So we'll see how Slowey fares, and we'll see how former Brave Mike Dunn fares. There's his line for the spring. 5 innings in 5 games. This is his 6th appearance of the spring. He's got the top of the Atlanta order. PENA, Hayward, and Justin Upton are scheduled.
Of course, Mike Dunn came over to the Marlins with Omar Infante when Dan UGGLA became a Brave.
We teased earlier that we had hoped to have Chris Medlin join us, but he is headed to the Braves locker room with assistant athletic trainer Jim Lovell. Medlin took a batted ball, what looked to be, Tommy, on the bottom side of his pitching arm just a few minutes ago. But as you saw, at least on that shot, no ice.
Well, you know, you and I are not doctors, so no speculation on our part, but just the fact that he didn't throw ice on it right away is a good sign.
PENA 0 for 2 tonight. One ball, 2 strikes.
I don't think we could have made it through medical school.
But we did stay at a Holiday Inn Express, right? 1 ball, 2 strikes. At least once in our lives to PENA. And in the dirt, it's 2-2.
I always just ask for the Chip Carey rate.
Well, and why wouldn't you? Marlins are off tomorrow. And then face the Yankees over in Tampa Friday. And then back to Port St. Lucie for the Mets on Saturday. Back here at Roger Dean with the Cardinals on Sunday as Dunn strikes out PENA. Good start to Mike's 6th inning.
The one thing with the World Baseball Classic, spring training's a little longer, but it also incorporates a few more off days. In a normal spring training year, each team usually gets just 1 off day. But this year, I think teams are getting 2 and 3 days spaced in between where they have an off day.
And for Atlanta, they've got a day game after the night game. They'll stay the night in Jupiter this evening and be right back here at Roger Dean Stadium tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the Cardinals. Then back to Disney in Orlando for the Mets and Yankees back-to-back on Friday and Saturday, and then down to Port St. Lucie to play the Mets on Sundays. That's what's next, the next 3 for these clubs.
One of the nice things with 2 clubs here, the Cardinals and the Marlins, teams do that. The Yankees just have that trip where they will come over and spend a night and play a couple of games.
Off Brantley's glove, foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Early in the young career, certainly, of Jason Hayward, already a Gold Glove, already an All-Star.
And he's down on strikes. Dunn's come in throwing heat. That's back-to-back strikeouts. And we've talked about Chipper Jones. Maybe the next role for Jason Hayward is the team leader of this Atlanta club.
That's a good point. You and I talked about that before the game tonight. Who might take over that leadership role for the Braves?
Don't forget they've got Brian McCann, although for Brian, and it's not a trade secret, this is last year of Brian McCann's contract in Atlanta. He's coming back from injury. Still have Tim Hudson, who I would guess, Tommy, would be the leader of the pitching staff.
Yeah, it's always hard to ask a starting pitcher to have that role because he's a starting pitcher, but certainly qualifies, Tim Hudson.
Upton toward third. Nice pick by VALAIKA, and the toss across in time. And Mike Dunn's good spring continues with a 3-up, 3 down top of inning number 6.
This is the
bottom 6, 1-0 Atlanta. Johnny Venters will continue on in relief for the Braves. Mentioned a couple of times how much longer this 2013 spring training is for all of the major league clubs. That, of course, because of the World Baseball Classic. It's unique, too, in that these teams don't really know what their team's going to look like until that tournament concludes. But, Tommy, needless to say, anybody participating has to be awfully excited to represent their country.
Well, there's no question. You're also teammates with guys that you will be facing down the road. And so at times that could be uncomfortable.
And that's something we asked Marlins closer Steve Cishek about.
It's a little awkward, especially when you go up to meet him, and you know you've had either some success against them or they've had success against you. So just talking about how our outings against each other, it's been a lot of fun doing that and kind of ragging on each other, and yeah, once this is all said and done, going to face them again will be a little bit different, considering you have some sort of relationship with those guys, but we'll still be battling. That's just part of competition.
And it's certainly a new role for Cishek after taking over the closer job when things went awry for Heath Bell. And Cishek really did a terrific job. So this year he'll handle that closing role the entire season.
Echeverria leads off the Miami 6th. We showed you the change for Atlanta defensively. Tyler Pasternicki's taken over at short. And he'll get his first chance from one shortstop to another. And Pasternicki retires Echeverria for out number 1.
Probably the best thing that can happen when you're a player, you come into a spring training game, is to get that first ball. All of a sudden you feel like you're part of the game, you've gotten loose, and you're ready to go.
Pasternicki trying to win a reserve job for this Atlanta ball club. And he did handle his first chance cleanly, and back to the top we go. Lefty and lefty. Venters to Juan Pierre. Pierre tonight has struck out and flied out.
Johnny Venters' birthday coming up. A few days. He'll be 28 on March 20th.
That's John Roush. He'll be next in line for the Marlins. He won't be 28.
We talked about Braves fans. Yeah, no, John will not. Not being able to see Andrelton Simmons a lot in spring training, and I'm sure they miss Craig Kimbrell too. But great to see him come on and pitch for the U.S. When he comes on to close games.
Two balls, two strikes. Well, that's the way the game is now. I'm sure it's much different than when you played, Tommy, and that the way bullpens are used now. It's been said before. Dennis Eckersley has said several times, games are now managed from the 9th inning forward instead of from the 7th inning forward. And with Kimbrel and with Cishek, both clubs look like they have the closer spot in very good hands entering this 2013 year.
Well, that's why we were talking earlier about the two clubs, the Nationals and the Braves. They have Venters and Kimbrel. The Nationals certainly helped themselves this offseason to go along with Tyler Clippard and Drew Storen. And now you throw in a Rafael Soriano. So you have a terrific back end of the bullpen for Washington.
Johnny Venters issued the first walk of the game for either staff tonight. And Juan Pierre, the runner at first for Donovan Solano.
Okay.
He's 0 for 2.
Yeah, there was a time where pitchers would go to spring training and they were just thinking about extending their arms, building up arm strength, and throwing a complete game first time out.
Runner goes. Laird's throw to second will short hop. And Juan Pierre is in scoring position with one out. He can still run. We showed you that graphic, approaching 600 stolen bases when the bell rings April 1st. That's the first Marlin in scoring position tonight.
And that's one thing Juan Pierre can still do. Maybe not quite the way he did in his early years as a Marlin when he was with the Rockies, but he had 37 stolen bases last year for Philadelphia.
Amazing player. As Venters misses down and in. Now 3 balls, no strikes. Is that a style of play, Tommy, you think the Marlins will utilize all year long? We've talked a lot about not a lot of power in a big ballpark. Is Juan Pierre going to have the green light to go anytime he feels he can make it?
Absolutely. And then they'll utilize either a Solano or Polanco in the number 2 role. They move runners over without question.
And now back-to-back walks for Johnny Venters. That'll bring Roger McDowell to the mound. He's the Braves pitching coach.
Just to show you the consistency that Juan Pierre has and what he meant to this Marlins franchise, huge part of their 03 World Championship season. He was with the Marlins for 3 years, 03, 04, and 05. He played in every game, all 3 years. He averaged 56 stolen bases, and he averaged a little over 200 hits a season.
And earlier this spring, I think, had one of the great lines of all time. And I'm paraphrasing, but as you see that shot, it really sums it up. If my uniform isn't dirty by the end of the game, I've not played the game the right way. And here he is, wreaking havoc in the 6th inning. A walk, a steal, and he's in scoring position with 1 out. And Rob Brantley, the batter. First pitch swing by Brantley. It's popped up and out of play. We talked about Atlanta with leadership. I don't know if leadership is an overrated thing or an underrated thing in a major league locker room, but certainly the experience of Juan Pierre can't help but provide leadership.
For young players,
yes.
And the Marlins have a lot of young players. So just by watching him as a young player, you're going to learn. You're going to learn how to play the game the right way. By the way, I love that foul ball that Brantley hit. When you're a hitter, especially a lefty against a tough lefty, and the pitchers struggled, Venters just walked Solano, and now the pitching coach goes out, you know you're going to get a pretty good fastball to hit. And Brantley fouled it off, but he had a pretty good swing.
Got a Good cut there, and that's fouled off Gerald Laird. Ball and 2 strikes. That one bounces away from Laird, and the Marlins move up 90 feet. So Johnny Vetter's having some 6th inning control problems.
Well, he got the first out of the inning, getting Echeverria to hit a ground ball to short, but struggled throwing strikes to Juan Pierre and Solano, and 2-2 count to Brantley coming up. As a hitter, you've seen him miss badly with that slider. Does he try the slider again, or does he get a fastball here?
He did try the slider. Laird called for it, and Johnny missed, and now the count's full at 3-2.
I don't think he tries the slider again.
No.
Unless Laird says, okay, it's spring training, you need to work on that. I think right now you have to be ready for a fastball. If he throws a good slider, he gets you. Tried a slider, but it was a bad one.
It was a bad one, and he's walked the bases loaded. Three walks in a row, a wild pitch as well for Vetters, and now the stage is set for Ruggiano. We mentioned because of injuries, Justin's only had 4 at-bats all spring. He's 0 for 2 tonight, a chance to make a big impression in a 1-run Atlanta game late. Couldn't stop himself. Strike 1.
In 91 games with the Marlins last year, Ruggiano hit .313, 13 home runs, and showed that he could play all 3 outfield spots and really did a nice job roaming in center field.
Fastball missed inside to even the count. Pierre, Solano, and Brantley, the Marlins base runners.
Ruggiano, one of those guys that was acquired in late May from the Astros for a minor leaguer, and all of a sudden really made a nice name for himself.
And here's one of those spots where you talked about with Pierre, play the game the right way. Little contact might tie this game. Assuming there's no double play ball, of course. And now the count even, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And certainly an area, we've talked about it a lot tonight. The Marlins were 29th in baseball, 29 out of 30 teams in runs scored last year. They hit just .234 with runners in scoring position last year. So a lot of work for Tino Martinez.
Inside, and the count is full. Dusty Hughes is up in the Atlanta pen. Rough 6th for Johnny Vetters. And he's walked 4 in a row, and that ties the game. Big at bat for Ruggiano. A bases loaded walk plates Juan Pierre. And we're tied 1-1.
Boy, it's a close pitch to take. Ruggiano's going to be lifted for a pinch runner. Fastball. Laird tries to frame it, but it just missed inside. The Ruggiano leaves. Gorkis Hernandez comes in to run. He'll stay in and play center field.
So the game tied 1-1 on 4 consecutive walks in the 6th inning. And Chris Coughlin, a roller to third, out at the plate, and a throw to first in time for the double play. So Johnny Venters walked 4 straight, then gets a ground ball to third, and the Braves turn a 5-2-3 double play to escape tied. Marlins tie the game with 4 straight walks in the 6th. And as we head to the 7th, 1-1 is our score. A lot of new faces on both of these ball clubs. Tommy, we touched on the outfield battles and the outfield situation. There's a bright, shining face for this Marlins franchise, and a man that the National League East is really going to enjoy watching play shortstop. Danny Echeverria can really pick it.
Well, he came over in that big trade with the Blue Jays. Had some time with Toronto last year, and also hit the ball well in AAA for Las Vegas. Hit .312. So you just worry about him. You want him to play defense. The hitting, I think, will come. And so far, with the work he's put in with infield instructor Perry Hill, he's made unbelievable strides. He's made all the plays. He's made the routine play, and he's made the spectacular play.
So Echeverria will work behind John Roush, who takes over as the 3rd Marlins pitcher of the night. Nathan Eovaldi went 5 innings, allowing 1 run. Mike Dunn worked a scoreless 6th inning. Now Roush is on to face Freddie Freeman. Freeman accounted for the lone Atlanta run, leading off the 2nd, a towering solo home run. And it's another ball deep to right. Burns on the run at the track. Will have room. And there's the first out.
John Roush, no stranger to the Atlanta Braves. Pitched for the Mets last year. He's been around with a number of clubs, and he's been a busy reliever, a guy that has closed games. He closed some games in 2010 with the Twins, but primarily a setup guy. He's averaged about 70, 72 games a year for the last 7 years.
And I would imagine as a hitter, it looks like, I would think when he lets go of the ball, he's throwing it from 2 feet away.
And you would think at 6'11", he'd throw 98 miles an hour. He touches 90. That's about it. But because of the arm angle and the plane that the ball comes at you as a hitter, he fools a lot of hitters. Fastballs and sliders.
Nothing fancy, but certainly effective for the career of John Roush, who faces B.J. Upton, who's had a good night at the plate. Upton's 2 for 2, and he strokes this one to center. Long run, and on the track, Hernandez is there for out number 2.
Yeah, Gorkys Hernandez came in to pinch run for Ruggiano, stayed in the game. There's some other changes. We got Roush on the mound. Christian Yelich comes in to play at left field for Juan Pierre. Matt Downs is at second base.
And Dan Uggla gets a 3rd at bat. Dan's 0 for 2 tonight. Broken bat pop into right, and Kearns is there, and John Roush a 1-2-3 7th. We stretch in Jupiter, Florida. 1-1 your score.
For
Good ball game, Chip. It's 1-1. We go to the bottom of the 7th. I've gained 5 pounds reading the promos tonight. Sir Pizza 4-pack, 4 Vista box seats, 4 personal Sir Pizzas, 4 Pepsi soft drinks, all Friday home games. What a deal. So, Sir Pizza, it just keeps adding weight as I read these promos.
What did they say in Tommy Boy? Ugh, you just hear you getting fatter. As we head to the 7th inning, Dusty Hughes is going to take over on the mound for the Braves. He was a 5'10", 190-pound left-hander out of Tupelo, Mississippi. The Braves signed him as a minor league free agent. He's seen time in the big leagues with the Royals and the Twins, most recently Minnesota in 2011, where he pitched in 15 games. Last year he was in Gwinnett, the Braves AAA affiliate, pitched in 54 games. Saved 4 ball games and had a 3-2 record.
So a guy who spent a lot of time in the minor leagues, in professional baseball. A little bit of time with Kansas City. 57 games with the Royals in 2010.
Austin Kearns will greet him first in the 7th. Kearns reached on an error. Also grounded out to third base. A little bit of a herky-jerky submarine-type delivery from Hughes.
Have lefty arm will travel.
Right? And pitch forever. 3 balls and a strike. No walks in the ball game until the 6th. That's when Venters walked 4 in a row, including Ruggiano, which scored Juan Pierre to tie the game. Now it's 5 walks out of the Atlanta bullpen in the last inning plus. And the first for Hughes. That's the go-ahead run for the Fish. Got wholesale defensive changes for the Braves. Jordan Schaefer's in the Atlanta outfield along with Reed Johnson, we're told. We'll check on that for you. Here's Kotchman. When's Lomo going to be back?
Right now, Logan Morrison is getting some running in, but still just on the treadmill, so has not done baseball throwing or hitting. It's going to be a while. Still recovering from knee surgery.
So if you're a betting man, you'd figure Kotchman has the inside track to be your opening day first baseman?
If I were a betting man, yes.
And you're not. But
Joe Mahoney has been in camp and has showed some power. Both have been battling for that spot, but if I were a betting man.
But you're not.
But I'm not.
The breaking ball froze Kotchman, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, the Marlins will really enjoy watching Casey Kotchman play first base. We've talked about that a little bit tonight. He's a terrific glove guy. Real good guy in the clubhouse. and is the answer to a trivia question for the Atlanta Braves. That is, as KOTCHMAN couldn't check his swing and is struck out. Casey KOTCHMAN is the man for whom Mark Teixeira was traded several years ago when Teixeira went to the Angels.
Okay, I have to file that one away.
Yeah, that's a big league note right there for our first spring.
Well, the Braves have been blessed with some terrific fielding first basemen between Adam LaRoche and KOTCHMAN.
And Freddie Freeman's not too shabby over there at first either. Little flare into shallow right. Trouble with the lights. But Jason Hayward with that gold glove makes the play, and that's out number 2.
We have major leaguers dealing with Florida State League lights. And every once in a while it's a problem. That's why you don't see a lot of night games played here at Roger Dean. But this is a great complex, beautiful complex.
And here's Echeverria. He's grounded out to shortstop twice tonight. And Hughes pumping in strike after strike. 0-1 the count.
Hughes doing what Venters wasn't able to do.
Right. Johnny walked 4 men in his inning plus. Hughes walked the first man. And Echeverria has rolled out to short 3 times tonight. Nothing doing for the Marlins in the 7th. Lower 3rd up for the Braves, and a tie game going to the 8th.
Reel in.
Now, there you see the score. It's a 1-1 tie as we go to the 8th inning. If you just joined us, early on, we had 2 pitchers look like they were in midseason form. Nathan Eovaldi in his innings of work, and Eovaldi threw about 72 pitches, 5 innings, 4 strikeouts, no walks. The only blemish, a home run off the bat of Freddie Freeman. That gave the Braves their 1 run of the game. That's all they got. That's all they've gotten to this point. The Marlins were able to take advantage of some wildness from the left-hander, Johnny Venters. The bases loaded walk to Justin Ruggiano. Juan Pierre comes in to score. Just like I told you, it's a 1-1 tie, and that's all the scoring in the game.
And that's Jonathan Albaladejo in relief. Can't do any better than a 0-point ERA, can you?
No, having a good spring. You know, there are guys, and the Marlins have many in camp. The Marlins came to camp, spring training. The only team that had more players in camp was the Yankees. The Marlins had 75, 76 players in camp initially. Obviously, some cuts have been made as the weeks have gone on, but you come into camp, even if you maybe realize you're not going to have that opportunity, and the same goes for the Braves and every other club in spring training. You can show an organization what you have, and if things you do stand out all of a sudden during the course of the season, and that's what happened last year with Donovan Solano. He had over 400 in spring training. Everybody remembered, and when Infante was traded, all of a sudden up came Solano because everybody said this guy can play.
And let's not forget, even though it's a spring training game, there are major league scouts at this game, and if it isn't your organization or the team you're playing, there are 28 others that might be paying attention to what you're doing.
Everybody is looking for pitching.
Yes. Hitless night for Juan Francisco. And got the 3-0 green light. Didn't get it. 3 balls and a strike. Big story tonight, frankly, for either one of these clubs is KRIS Medlen. Medlen started for the Braves. Was hit not once but twice with batted balls tonight. One caught him on the bottom of the foot. The other one caught him in the body somewhere. It might have been the back of his pitching arm. We've not gotten any update from the Braves PR department or the medical department on Medlen's status, but he did walk to the clubhouse under his own power and did not appear to have an ice bag on the arm. And as soon as we are able to find out anything more on Medlen's status, we'll certainly pass that along for our Atlanta audience. His pitching opponent, Nathan Eovaldi, pitched a beautiful game too. Eovaldi went 5 innings of 3 hit, 1 run, and maybe more importantly, no walk baseball tonight. As Francisco draws a leadoff walk to start the Braves' 8th.
Yeah, Nathan Eovaldi accomplished what he wanted to do. He threw strikes. He kept that direct plane to the plate and stayed on top. Had a good live fastball, some good sliders.
And now Matt Kennelly will bat. Kennelly, an Aussie out of East Fremantle, Western Australia. He's been in the Braves organization since August of 2005. Last year played at AA Mississippi. And tried to bunt and fouled one off on a pitch up and in.
I think one of the hardest things to do as a hitter, you're taught at a young age when you're up there in a sacrifice situation to bunt strikes. A lot of times you'll get a pitch that, boy, is up in the strike zone, looks like might be a good pitch to bunt, but this one was not. And generally, if you bunt strikes, you're going to have more success.
He came away shaking his right hand. Maybe he got the fingers as well on that bunt try.
Every once in a while, we sneak in a defensive change just to keep you on your toes. Kyle Skipworth is now catching for the Marlins. Former first-round pick.
And here are the Marlins changes. They're listed in yellow on your screen. Nick Green is in at shortstop. Brian Peterson's in right. And Kennelly's not going to be able to continue. And it looks like he's going to give way to Evan Gattis.
Well, let's see if this pitch comes up and in and probably caught him on the finger that was inched up on the bat in that bunting situation.
And that is going to bring on Evan Gattis, a man nicknamed in the Venezuelan Winter League as El Oso Blanco, the White Bear. And
when you get a nickname in the Venezuelan League, that's something.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
This guy has an amazing story. He has amazing pull-to-pull power. 2 homers, 10 RBIs. You see the batting average, and Tommy making a very strong push to make this Braves roster either as a backup catcher, a left fielder, first baseman, or a right-handed pinch hitter.
Well, a guy who certainly knows him would be the Marlins center fielder right now. Gorkys Hernandez led the Venezuelan League in hitting this year, hit over 360, so I'm sure he saw a lot of Gattis.
There's a lot to see. He's a big man, and Craig, he has an amazing major league journey, doesn't he?
Well, it really is, Chip, an amazing story. This guy was a star high school player. He had an option and an opportunity scholarship at Texas A&M. He turned it down, he said, because of, believe it or not, a fear of failure. Went through a series of drug problems. He was in rehab. He, after about 3-4 years away from baseball, played a little JC baseball, junior college in Oklahoma. That was only for a season. And then he became a bit of a drifter. He worked his way out west. He worked odd jobs, a janitor, a cart boy, at a golf course and re-energized himself with baseball. His stepbrother actually played some college baseball at a Division II school in Texas. He went there. He hit over 400. He was the All-Heartland Conference Player of the Year, 403 with 62 ribbies. In Atlanta, only a few years ago now, he's into his mid-20s just about. Drafted him in the 23rd round, signed him for $1,000. He's played in the minors a couple of years. He's done great. And Freddie Gonzalez today said, yes, he has a very good shot to make this team. Incredible versatility, whether it's a third catcher, outfielder, or maybe even as a backup catcher, at least for the early going of the season. It's a great story.
Thank you, Craig. As Gaddis, 1 ball, 2 strike count. A shot to right. And Gaddis is retired. Back to first will go Francisco.
A good battle right there, though, too, with a 2-strike count on him to really hit that ball well. It might have broken his bat. It didn't sound like he hit it on the screws, but he still hit it hard.
Now, talking with Greg Walker, the Braves hitting coach, before the game, he paid Gaddis a great compliment. He said he reminds him in some ways, other than his setup, of a young Greg Luzinski. And he's built like the Bull, too. He's a big man.
Having been a teammate of the Bulls for a number of years, yeah, he's got that same build. The Bull and Greg Walker, good friends. I believe they were together with the White Sox.
Reed Johnson gets his first at bat of the night. Johnson, a big pickup for the Braves in the second half of the year last year. Terrific pinch hitter. And another versatile player, Tommy, a guy that can play all 3 outfield spots, although his days as an everyday player are probably few and far between now.
Yeah, he's another one of those players. He'd probably tell you, too, if his uniform's not dirty, he hasn't done a good job out there. Against lefties, Reed Johnson's a lifetime 300 hitter.
Last year with the Cubs and the Braves, hit 290. Had 18 pinch hits. That led all of Major League Baseball. And had the second highest pinch hit average with a minimum of 20 at bats, hitting 419 off the bench.
Yeah, he's a valuable guy to have because of the positions he can play, because of his pinch hitting ability.
At the top of the hour, we're in the top of the 8th. 1-1 ball game. As Reed Johnson took a slider from Albaladejo.
Good pitch. He's thrown some good breaking balls. Jonathan Albaladejo.
Mid-season form, pal. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
A couple more of these spring games that will be on our way.
Yes. Skipworth, nice stop and an even better throw. On a ball in the dirt, Skipworth pounced on it, threw a pellet to second, and that takes care of the Atlanta base runner.
Little hesitation at first base, but a flat-footed seed to second. So Skipworth showing off some arm strength with the way through that ball to second base.
So that clears the bags. 2-2 count. And Johnson, a chopper to third, in between Hop. Nice play. And in time to retire the side. VALAIKA made a nice pick at third. Albaladejo, a good 8th inning. Game tied 1-1. Top of the order up for the Fish. Top of the order in the bottom of the 8th inning. And our game tied 1-1. Tommy Hutton, Chip Carrier with you from Roger Dean Stadium. And new pitcher out of the Atlanta bullpen is a local boy. Local Atlanta, that is.
Local Atlanta, David Hale, born in Marietta, Georgia. Headed on to Princeton. And pitched in Mississippi last year.
And he's going to face the top of the Marlins order. And a big part of the Miami future is going to be a big part of the present of this game. While Hale continues his warm-ups, as you see Christian Yelich, he has had a great spring for the Marlins. And there are some who are wondering, Tommy, does he have a shot at all of cracking this big league roster opening day?
You know, it's such a tough call. He has played like a big leaguer the way he's hit this spring. Just look at the numbers. He was an A-ball last year, hit .330 in the Florida State League. Every league he's played in, he's hit over 300. Keep in mind, he's only 21. And probably his best position's a left fielder. But he's got that nice swing, line drive, gap power. He's hit 3 home runs this spring.
Little pop behind third, and a nice play. That's Chris Johnson. He just checked in for Atlanta.
The second baseman, 12, Matt.
And Yelich is out number 1 in the 8th.
Not a lot of time. That ball wasn't in the air for a long time. Didn't have much hang time, and Chris Johnson stayed with it.
So Hale has his first. Another pop-up foul and out of play. Matt Downs, the hitter. Hale's got some zip on that fastball tonight.
Yeah, he displayed that. Made a good pitch to Yelich to get in on him.
1-2. Gaddis is part of the Braves battery. Talked a lot about his offensive prowess. One thing that will help him stick with this Atlanta team is his work behind the plate. Freddie Gonzalez said before the game that Gaddis is a little better than he was given credit for as a receiver.
Yeah, every once in a while, a ball club will get in a situation where they can afford to have an extra man who can catch.
Right.
It might not be his primary position.
Right.
Play the outfield a little bit. Boy, a manager loves that. He can make some moves because he always knows he has that guy who can catch.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And Gaddis framed that pitch over the inside corner. And that's the second out.
Catcher, number 53, Kyle Skipworth.
Good fastball in a perfect spot.
And now Skipworth hits. Belt high fastball, a little too high. 1 ball, no strikes. And Skipworth a pop. Pasternicki drifts back. And Tyler has plenty of room and makes the grab to retire the side. David Hale, an impressive 8th inning. The top of the Atlanta order is 2 in the 9th in a 1-1 game. Ninth inning, 1-1 game. Jonathan Albaladeo is going to continue on for the Marlins. Got word from the Braves PR staff, Tommy, regarding KRIS MEDLEN.
I knew you had connections there.
Yes. Apparently the batted ball hit MEDLEN in the right tricep. But the word is he's okay. That's from Jim Mishidick, the Braves PR representative who's on the trip for the Atlanta club.
Good news. Good news for Braves fans. Certainly they didn't want to see anything happen to KRIS MEDLEN, who threw the ball well tonight.
As did Nathan Eovaldi, who started for the Marlins. Eovaldi gave up a run in his 5 innings. MEDLEN just 2 hits in his 4 2/3 innings. And Albaladeo, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Marlins, will continue on as we check in once again with Craig Minervini.
With the very special assistant to the president, Jeff Conine, and our partner, of course, on Marlins Live. We're not talking broadcasting now, though, Jeff. Let's talk about the guys you've been working with so far in the outfield, and who's impressed you so far?
Well, you know, we got such amazing young talent back in that trade and through the organization. Obviously, all the talk's been about Christian Yelich and the way he's played the outfield and his bat. For me, Jake Marisnick, one of the guys we got in that trade, has been probably the most surprising player in the outfield as far as I'm concerned. The way he's played center field is pretty amazing.
Good to get Justin Ruggiano back in center. Juan Pierre, your former teammate, to see him back, do you notice much difference?
None. I mean, he looks exactly the same. He works as hard as he ever has. Yeah. You know, he's probably the hardest working guy in the big leagues, and I point that out to the young guys early in spring training, saying if you want to work like anybody, work like this guy right here. Watch him every day. Watch how he goes about his business, and he's a consummate professional.
You know, Larry Bienfest was telling us the other day, Jeff, that it's an excellent clubhouse, good feelings here in Jupiter, and one of the things you've remarked is the energy you've seen, not only from some of the veterans, but some of these young guys, too, not putting too much pressure on themselves.
Yeah, I was just for Yelich, for example, I was talking to him the other day, and he just said he's having a good time. You know, he's here. He knows probably where he's going to be at the end of spring training. He's in AA Jacksonville. He's here having a good time, learning as much as he can, because that's our future. And when you look at the energy Mike Redmond brings to this camp every single day, it's just it's a good feeling.
Do you feel older, now that one of your teammates is a manager in the major leagues?
Why did you say older?
Well, because you're already getting up
old
there.
Before. But yeah, kind of. I mean,
you get the point.
When I start having guys manage that were like teammates' kids, then I feel really old.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
All right, Nana, thanks for your time.
All right.
I will see Jeff all year long on Marlins Live on our home games, guys. Back to you. Not 2 old guys in the booth, though.
But the older one's going to read the promo.
Yeah, they can. And they're usually about food. But this one's not. 2 for Tuesday. 2 for Tuesday coupon appears on the Miami Herald every Tuesday. Fans can get half-price tickets in Legend Silver, Baseline Reserve, Bullpen Reserve, and Home Run Porch on any Tuesday home games this year. 2 for Tuesday.
Tyler Pasternicki, the runner at first, with Jason Hayward in the batter's box. We're in the 9th inning of a tie game, Tommy, for fans who wonder, will this game potentially go to extra innings? If so, how long would both these managers want to carry on?
Usually managers will talk and discuss, you know, if it stays tied. You hate to walk the leadoff man, though, in a 1-1 game in the 9th inning, but if it stays tied, they'll decide, the two managers, Mike Redmond, Freddie Gonzalez. You want to go another inning? Do you have a pitcher who wants to get some more work? Maybe 2 innings. But if it still stays tied, you every once in a while see some spring training games that end in a tie. The Marlins have actually had a couple so far this year.
No balls and a strike to Jason Hayward. He pops one to the left side. Twisting into foul ground, and a nice grab. Hayward robbed. VALAIKA made a terrific sliding catch.
That is a terrific play for a couple of reasons. He has to make a decision. Do I lean into the dugout? Can I slide? Can I get down and make that play? As soon as he made that call to himself, he hit the dirt and made the catch. That's a good play. Quick decision.
And now Upton bats. Justin tonight is 0 for 3. Pasternicki's running, swing and a miss. Skipworth's throw skips into second base late. So Pasternicki with good speed. He's in scoring position and represents the go-ahead run.
I guess one of the things, Chip, a lot of people are wondering, and I'm sure they've asked many times, with the two brothers on the same team, how will that play out?
Only time's going to tell.
Yeah.
A lot of folks wonder, okay, you guys going to live in the same apartment building in Atlanta? Are you going to buy houses in the same neighborhood? And the answer to that's no. Both brothers are going to have their own separate lives, as it were, but within the realm of the locker room, they've said, hey, we're our own individual people. But Freddie Gonzalez expects, as they have said of each other, there'll be a little sibling rivalry, which they think is going to be good for both of them.
I think that's what Freddie and Braves fans hope, that that rivalry will be good.
Two quick strikes. And Upton checked to swing. 1-2 your count. You saw Pasternicki here in the 9th inning do something that the Braves are probably going to try to employ more, and that's overall better team speed. Hayward can run. The Uptons can run. Anderson Simmons can run
a little bit.
Skipworth, another good stop. 2-2 the count. Been a couple of good plays since checking in the late innings behind the plate.
Yeah, you get men on base, all of a sudden you get some breaking pitches in the dirt. You have to scramble back there, and he's done a nice job.
At second, Skipworth and Alvaladeo want to talk it over. Low scoring game, low hit game. Not many opportunities with men in scoring position for either club tonight. Braves had 3 cracks in the second inning with a man in scoring position. Couldn't bring home a second run. In fact, Atlanta's only run tonight came on a Freddie Freeman homer. Marlins' 6th inning run came on a bases loaded walk. And Heat takes care of Upton. Alvaladeo rushes it up there for the second out.
This is just a good fastball that he's able to get by Justin Upton.
Two outs. Pasternicki at second. I believe this is Cody Johnson for Atlanta. Or Chris Johnson, I beg your pardon. Chris Johnson, the Braves third baseman who came in an inning ago or so. His first at bat of the night. Live fastball again, quickly 0-2.
Yeah, Chris Johnson last year split time between Houston and Arizona and hit a combined 281 at 15 home runs.
The Braves will take that right now if they could get that from Johnson. And perhaps a little more if they decide to platoon with Juan Francisco, who started the game tonight for Atlanta. Francisco started at third base, was hitless in a couple of at-bats. He did walk back in the 8th. Fought that pitch off, didn't he? 1 ball, 2 strikes.
It's like that emergency swing. You've been fooled on a pitch. It's a pretty good pitch. You know you're not going to hit it well, so you just want to stay alive and foul it off.
Fought off a tight fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Again, an off day for the Marlins tomorrow. The Braves will stay overnight in Jupiter, play the Cardinals here tomorrow afternoon.
I think that game is on the Cardinals television.
Johnson, a little flare into shallow center. That's going to get down. Pasternaky around third. Throw to the plate, on target, but late. And Chris Johnson has untied this game with a 2-out, 2-strike 9th inning single. And the leadoff walk comes back to haunt Albaladeo.
It's a great sequence. A good at bat by Johnson. He fouled off that tough pitch. Got another breaking ball. A good pitch. It was down. He stayed with it. Just got enough of it. Dropped it into shallow center. And you're right. How many times? What's the percentage in a close game of that leadoff walk coming in to score?
So on the throw to the plate, Johnson takes second on the play, and Jordan Schaefer will get a chance to add to what's now a 2-1 Atlanta lead. Just a few short years ago, Jordan Schaefer was the Braves' #1 minor league prospect. Came into the big leagues with a bang, much like Jason Hayward a couple of years ago. Hit a home run in his first big league ball game, then got hurt. Wasn't really the same player. And then made his way to the Astros.
He went in that Michael Bourne deal, didn't he?
And then after being released by Houston, got a second chance with Atlanta. And he's battling for a reserve outfield spot for this Braves team.
Guy who's always been a terrific outfielder, has good speed.
Top fly foul, 2 balls and a strike. Again, back to the screen, 2-2. Problem for Schaefer, wrist problems. Boy, as a hitter, your wrists aren't right. That's got to be almost an impossible task to hit at this level.
Yeah, and over the years, you've looked at different hitters that have had wrist issues. And it takes a while to come back from that because it's such a violent motion. Swinging a bat at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Schaefer back in 2009 hit a homer in his first Major League plate appearance on opening day against the defending world champions. For the Braves, 10th Brave to homer in his big league debut. Now trying to win a roster spot in 2013. He shoots this ball toward left. Yelich has it, and that will retire the side in the top of the 9th inning. Do or die time for the Fish. 2-1 Atlanta, a 9th inning lead. Last of the 9th inning. There you see the Marlins Brain Trust. They'll try to figure out a way to scratch across a run or two here in the last of the 9th inning. 2-1's your scores. David Hale's going to continue on in relief for the Braves.
Well, Hale had a nice 1-2-3 inning last inning, so Freddie Gonzalez electing to stay with him. And you're a manager in spring training. You set out all the pitchers, how they're going to pitch, and how many innings you're going to get, knowing that they have a game tomorrow afternoon against the Cardinals. Freddie and Roger McDowell have that all decided, I'm sure, already.
And we're too far away from Marlins Park to bring Craig Kimbrell up here, right?
Yeah, the U.S. not playing. Kimbrell down there with the U.S. team about an hour and 20 minutes from here, maybe. But,
let's stick with Hale. As Gorkis Hernandez will lead things off. Hale and Hernandez.
We talked earlier about that center field job and the opening with Ruggiano, Chris Coghlan, Gorkis Hernandez. Certainly in that mix. And of the three players, of those three, probably the best defender. Can cover a lot of ground in center field. Here's what's going on down at Marlins Park. Italy's gotten 3 RBIs from Anthony Rizzo in that game.
Way high, 3 balls, no strikes. And a 4-pitch walk to a fast runner starts the Miami 9th. A leadoff walk plagued Albaladeo. Let's see if the Marlins can cash in a free pass to Gorkis Hernandez.
Well, I was just thinking with young Anthony Rizzo playing for Team Italy out of Douglas High School in Parkland. I'm sure it's been a lot of fun for his family going down there to watch him play for Team Italy. Rizzo born in Fort Lauderdale.
Hitless night for Chris Coghlan tonight. He has struck out, grounded out, and he hit into a double play in the 6th.
See how Mike Redmond plays this.
Got an inexperienced catcher behind the plate too, and Gaddis. No movement. Good cut by Coghlan, fouled straight back.
And you have good speed. Coghlan runs well. Hernandez runs well. Big play of the game in the 6th inning when Venters, after 4 consecutive walks, got Coghlan to hit into an unusual 5-2-3 double play on the first pitch.
A little more patient with the second offering from Hale, and Coghlan took it outside for an even count. To first, Mejia to the bag. The throw short hops past Pasternaky at second, and Hernandez on his way to third, and he'll stand there with one out. Coughlin retired on the unassisted play at first by Ernesto Mejia, but the throwing error has the Marlins in business with one out.
He was so close to first. He did the right thing, but then when he turned, didn't get his body squared up, made a poor throw to second, and on the throwing error, Hernandez gets over to third.
Was the threat of speed as big a problem as the speed itself for Mejia on that play?
You think about it, and you know that you have to make a good throw and get rid of it because of the speed. But he had time.
Brian Peterson trying to improve on what's been a rough spring with the infield in for Atlanta and one out. A quick strike. That's the tying run at third. Gorkis Hernandez. Good stop, Gaddis. Braves are on their third catcher in this game, remember. Gerald Laird started. Matt Kennelly came on. Injured himself on a bunt play. Now Gaddis in for the last couple of innings.
Looks like a couple of other catchers have made the trip. Christian Bethencourt and Matt Pagnazzi.
Right down central, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Another good play by Gaddis. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
We've seen both catchers tested late in the game here, making some good plays. Kyle Skipworth and now Gaddis.
Swing and a miss. Hale gets Peterson with a breaking ball. 2 outs.
Boy, went back to that breaking ball, down and in. Got this one in a good spot. Good pitch to strike out Brian Peterson.
Now the Atlanta infield can back up with 2 outs, and Casey KOTCHMAN is the final Miami hope. KOTCHMAN a 1-for-3 night. Strike 1 from Hale.
Been that type of night for the Marlins. Just 2 hits and neither left the infield.
Good breaking ball froze KOTCHMAN. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Did he go? He did, and that's your ball game. David Hale strikes out. The final 2 Marlins he sees in the 9th inning. Pitches around a leadoff walk and a 2-base throwing error. And the Braves beat the Marlins in a 1-run game, 2-1 the final. Tommy?
At that time, the Marlins couldn't capitalize on the leadoff walk. The Braves were able to do so in the top half of the 9th. Marlins couldn't come up with a big hit, and Freddie Gonzalez's team goes away with a 2-1 win.
Game decided by the bullpens, but the storyline, I think, for both clubs tonight, Tommy, both starting pitchers looked awfully good.
I'm sure both managers impressed with what their starters did, Chris Medlin and Nathan Eovaldi.
Both of them pitched very effective baseball. Eovaldi went 5 innings of 1-run baseball. Medlin left with injury. Don't believe it's serious. Batted ball hit him in the biceps. That sent him out of the game after 4 2/3 innings of work tonight. And the Braves and Marlins wrap up their spring schedule against each other with a very well-pitched game, won by Atlanta by a final score of 2-1. One homer in the game. That was by Braves first baseman Freddie Freeman. The Marlins run scored on a bases-loaded walk in the 6th inning that brought in Juan Pierre. 2-1 is our final score. Let's check in for a final time with Craig Minervini. Craig?
All right, thank you very much, Chip. KRIS VALAIKA had a real good game. The other day, Larry Beinfest was telling us how impressed he's been with you, and it's been a good camp so far. What were your goals coming in?
You know, my goals coming in were obviously to make a team, but coming over from Cincinnati, I just wanted an opportunity to play, and I'm getting that shot here. You know, I might not have the numbers that I'd hoped for, but, you know, I'm going out there and playing hard, and I feel like I'm having a decent spring.
Well, certainly in the mix. You made a couple of great defensive plays in this game. I think the best one was the one over here, which maybe, I don't know if television did it justice. That was a tough play. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, it was tough. Well, you know, I was playing over on Hayward like that, and ball went up, and first thing was like, oh God, find the fence. You know, I don't want to go crashing through the dugout, but you know, there it is.
But you didn't have time to find the fence.
Didn't have time to find the fence, so I thought the next best thing would slide. So that was all right.
And luck would be you slid, I mean, literally right in front of these steps here. So fortunately, it's pretty heavy dirt right there. It stopped you. Huh?
Yeah, it could have been a little bit better dirt, a little rocky, but it was all right.
You'll pay for that later. Yeah. What about camp so far with this ball club? I know you get a loss here tonight, but overall it's been a very upbeat camp for you guys.
It's been great. You know, we got a lot of young guys, but a good mix of veterans too. You know, and they teach us the way to play the game the right way. And you know, being so young, it's very upbeat, like you said. And you know, it's real exciting. I think there's good things to come with this organization.
KRIS, is this kind of camp nerve-wracking? Is it, you know, you're going for a job, everybody's trying to impress, you're certainly not trying to go too much, and you got to find an even keel somewhere, and yet, you know, jobs are at stake here, and it's a major league job versus some other team or some other league.
Sure, you know, it's always a little high pressure, you know, anything, it's, you know, like you said, trying to win a major league job. But you can't put that pressure on yourself. You got to go in, do what you know how to do, and if they like what they see, they're going to put you on the roster, stats or not, you know. So just go have fun, play hard, and things will play out like they should.
Good attitude. Thanks for your time, and thanks for not running into us over here.
Thank you.
KRIS VALAIKA, guys, let's go back to you.
Hey, Craig, thanks a million. Great job downstairs. And Tommy, thanks so much for letting me pinch hit for Rich Walls tonight. It was a lot of fun and a good ball game, and can't wait to see you for your home opener.
Add pressure on me sitting in for Joe Simpson. So, hey, that's how it goes. But, yeah, the next time we'll see you will be April 8th. That's the Marlins home opener after starting the season on the road. They'll hook up against the Braves.
We look forward to catching up then. Good luck to you and Rich and the rest of the Fox Sports Florida crew the rest of the way this spring. For Tommy Hutton, for Craig Minervini, I'm Chip Carey. Thanks for joining us. This has been a special presentation of Fox Sports Florida. Tune in March 25th. The Marlins will take on the Tigers. Rich Walls will be back with Tommy Hutton for that ball game. Coverage starts at 1 on Fox Sports Florida. Don't forget to log on to foxsportsflorida.com for the latest news and information surrounding the Marlins and all of your favorite Florida sports teams. Final from Roger Dean. Atlanta wins tonight. 2-1 your final score. Good night, everybody.